Welcome to No Notes, the show with no premise, no no notes, just people talking. Joel Pearl joins me this week from Fightful as we continue this season 2 of me just talking to my friends in wrestling media. Hi, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. This is an actual show. This is a real thing that exists.
It is. Yeah. See, I wasn't just making it up.
I mean, I still think there's a chance you're still making this up.
That would be impressive if I went to all of this and it was just for, shits and giggles just to fool you.
Commitment to the bit. I think that's amazing.
You know what commitment to the bit is a very good thing. I did want to start out. I'm not going to give you anything if you guess it, but I'm wearing my favorite shirt on the planet right now, and I was just wondering if you wanted to take a guess at what is on it.
It's a Rob Zombie t-shirt.
Oh no, I do have a Rob Zombie t-shirt, but it is not a Rob Zombie t-shirt. I'll give you 2 more guesses just because that's coming out hot. Very good.
Oh man, I legit I have no idea. It's a white t-shirt. I see that, but like,
yeah,
is
the most. Imagine like part of a Mad Lib just exploded onto a shirt. That's what it is.
That doesn't help me at all.
I would be very impressed. I feel like I would almost have to get you something if you guessed what it was.
Is it the shirt that you were supposed to eat the other week and never did?
No, I did do that.
I've yet to see video evidence, therefore it has not happened.
I will send you the link afterwards.
You've been saying that one for weeks.
No, did I say I was going to send you a link?
I think you did. It's okay.
Oh, well, now I feel bad. I will send it to you though, just on my YouTube and whatnot. But no, it is Jeff Gordon driving through Jurassic Park.
What? Where did you find that?
I wanted like new shirts. Like this is like last year because I was like changing, getting rid of some stuff, getting rid of clothes, and I just wanted some new stuff. And I was like, I want the most random shirt you could find. And so what did I type? I just went on like eBay or something. I was like, I bet if I get on here, somebody will just have the most ridiculous shit. And I just hit the jackpot with this. So I was pretty pleased with it. And it's like a little bit oversized, which is what I like with t-shirts. So it was a good find for like $9.
See, I was expecting you to say like I was walking through a thrift store in some city I was visiting and I happened to come across it. No, you're just like, I went on eBay, went on Etsy, went on T Republic, and I found this random ass shirt.
I'm telling you, man, those 3 that you just said, gold mines.
I believe
they're great. Yeah. I do enjoy a good thrift though. You a big thrifter?
I used to be. We are near a Value Village where we are now. So like I want to spend a little bit more time, walking around there, but I haven't had a chance to lately. And so
is Value Village like what is it? Is that sort of like a Goodwill?
Yeah, it's it is Goodwill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
you're in Canada, right?
Yeah, I'm Canadian. So Value Village is a Goodwill.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, cool. So there's a Goodwill in my town. I think there's different levels to thrifts, definitely. Like Goodwill, I'm not trying to like shit on Goodwill, but it's like bottom of the barrel thrifts. And then you've got, do you have Plato's Closet in Canada?
No, we do have something called, and this is Toronto specifically, called Black Market, where it is.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, so it's literally like on Queen Street West, which is like one of the major streets downtown Toronto, and it's like the shop where you just go down the stairs and it's full of everything. It's got a barber, it's got food, it's got all this thrifted and thrifty clothing. Like it's really cool, but you got to like spend a lot of time. You got to spend like an afternoon in there if you want to find what you're looking for.
No, that's, if you're gonna go somewhere, you might as well make an afternoon out of it, not just go somewhere for 10 minutes. I'm a big I'm big on spending days doing things, not just a half hour.
Yeah.
Exploring.
My timing these days are kind of based around my kid's like awake time and his schedule. But once he starts daycare, I don't have to worry so much about it.
Do you just have the one child? Do you have multiple?
Just the one.
How old is said child?
He's going to be 1 year old in about a week.
Oh my goodness gracious! How's that being a father to a baby? I can't imagine.
It's wonderful. Honestly, it's something that I never imagined, but I always knew would happen. So, my partner and I would always talk about how like, is it real yet? Or like, when does it become real? Because, she was living with this thing inside of her for 9 months. And I was like, okay, it's coming. And then she gave birth and like, suddenly it was real. I told the story before on other podcasts, but like, the TV trope where people are like, I looked into their eyes for the first time and I felt love. I didn't have that. it took me like a few months to come around to like the reality of this.
Mm.
And I remember distinctly, like one afternoon, as I'm like trying to just calm him down and get him to a nap, he's in my arms, and we've got the stove fan going because that was like the only thing that would put him down at the time. And I had him like football, like staring up at
Yeah.
me. I looked at him and I was like, oh shit, he looks exactly like me. Now I get it. And so yeah, now he's my little buddy. He's my bestest little buddy. It's great. We spend a lot of time together. We definitely have enjoyed the year of like having him with us 24/7.
See, I'm the complete opposite. Like I often imagine it. I don't expect it to ever happen. You know, like I just, and I'm not at the age where like I want to think about having kids. Like I'm definitely not ready for that in my life. But I don't know if I would be. I don't know if I would want any or not. I'm at that stage in life where I just don't know.
I was on and off about it. When I met my wife, I was more on than off, and we talked about it, and it was something that she wanted. She
Mm.
grew up in a big family, and I didn't, but I have two siblings who are older than me, and I was always of the understanding that like I was going to have kids because I wanted to have kids. But
Yeah.
I did have a time where I was like, no, I'm not ready for that, and I'm 35 now. I'll be 36 in a few months, so I'm I'm at the right place in my life that I think was good for having kids.
That makes sense. No, I have a lot of siblings, so um, I think maybe that I don't want to say that would turn me off to it because I'm pretty close with all of them, but just the chaos of it. I relate a lot to we've discussed this maybe. No, I've discussed this with Doc because he always gives me shit about it. I relate a lot with cats. Like I'm a very cat person where I want to be secluded. I want quiet, and I just oh man, when you have that many siblings growing up, it's never really quiet. Which, by the way, again, I'm not shitting on it whatsoever. I love my siblings very, very much, and it's very awesome having them. But I don't know, man. I'm not. I also know myself to know I'm not a patient person, and like I'm not patient with animals, much less a kid. That would be a tough adjustment.
I get that. And you figure it out. That's kind of always been the way it was explained to me with a kid. It's like you figure it out. And we're very lucky that like we have family who are and friends who are helpful and check in on us and hang out with us and just want to be involved in the kid's life. So that's good. And you figure it out. You do the research, you find stuff in the area that's available to you, and like you go and you just try and eventually you get eventually the kid goes to school and then you're like, cool, my days are back.
I almost had one. I was like this close to telling my mother, and here's the thing: I know my mom well enough to know like she would have been like kind of annoyed at first, but then like been more excited. But it didn't happen because she wasn't pregnant. I came close. Literally a day away from telling my mom, "Look, mom, you're gonna be a grandmother, so enjoy." But no, it didn't happen. That is one thing that like I know my mom would be pretty stoked about it. I know my sisters would be pretty stoked about it. I think I would be the only one being like, "Oh fuck," like just
So like I yeah, it is a bit of that. Like in the moment I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. Well, you're not gonna say that out loud. I'm just like, this is great. And then over time you kind of figure it out. And we had a kid during COVID, or at least like at the tail end of when
mm,
everyone was locked down. So I couldn't go to any of the doctor's appointments, which again, talking about like when it's real and when it feels real, I didn't get that because my wife was going to all the appointments.
right.
Come in. It's not until she was giving birth that I could actually be in the room with her and the doctor that had been seeing her for the last 9 months.
Damn.
It was
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. That as a dad, like going into that, did that? I mean, yeah, it was weird and everything, but did that like I don't know frustrate you to any extent?
No, because I would always get a video call or something
That's good.
while she was at these appointments. And again, we were both fully understanding of the circumstances of the world at that point, and it was like I could be frustrated with this, but like what's that going to do? I'd
Right.
rather everyone be safe and like I'll stay home and we'll be good.
That's fair. That makes sense. Well, if you have another boy, just know that Jarrett Pearl has a solid ring to it,
Does.
and I would be very honored.
Yeah, be very happy too.
I was really upset that I couldn't make it to Jeremy's wedding until I saw the video of him and Denise dancing to Taylor Swift, and then I was like, you know what? That's happy for you, Jeremy. But him and we get into it about music all the time, just because, like, obviously, like, that's his style of music and it's not mine. And his wife likes the stuff that I do, which is great, and I love that. Um, we were talking in the lobby about Sugarfoot and Billie Jean and Michael Jackson and all that stuff. What is? I mean, you play in a band, don't you? Or at least you did.
I did. So going into pandemic, I tell the story. I've told it before, but I was literally on the road with the band before the world shut down, or as the world was shutting down.
So how did that go for you? Like, you were on the road, and then you just like get the call, like, "Hey, by the way, time to go home. We're not going anywhere else."
Pretty much, it's like the borders are shutting down. We knew that on this run, things were getting dicey and that venues were being shut down. We were in the States. We were going across like Pennsylvania and New Jersey and just like that neck of the woods.
Sure.
And I just remember every time we would go to a venue, we would call ahead and be like, "Hey, we still on?" They'd be like, "Yeah, as far as we know." And then we'd call the next day to say, "Hey, thanks. Just, sending our thank yous." And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's great. You guys are the last ones until they reopen again because we just got shut down by the government last night after the show finished." And we were like, okay, this means we have to actually deal with the reality of this.
Yeah.
So we went home and we had to. And yeah, we were like everyone else, we were kind of naive. We were like, this is going to be 2-3 weeks and then we'll be back on the road.
Then 2 years later.
Yeah, exactly. And so I pivoted at that point. I started doing stuff on Twitch and just playing guitar, and I started doing stuff with Fightful through the gaming streams. That this all started because Sean Ross Sapp one afternoon was like on the main Fightful channel playing a video game on his own, and he's like, "I don't know how I can like do this with other people." And then I was like, "Oh, I can figure this out." So Jeremy Lambert kind of reached out to me, and we started DMing back and forth about how we could make that work. And that's how the Fightful Twitch started. And actually, it didn't even start with the Twitch. It started with a random gaming night on the main Fightful channel. We would take like a Saturday night and it'd be gaming night where we play wrestling games and we'd banter. And then eventually we turned it into the Fightful Twitch. And then, we still have that going and we still play video games. But the idea really started when Sean was like, "I don't know how to do this on a multiplayer, national, international level. But if someone can figure it out, then here we go."
No, that's very cool. Complete side note here. If you hear like howling in the background, I promise I don't have like a dungeon full of animals. It's just my sister's dog that doesn't shut up. So my apologies in advance for that.
At least it's not your sister.
It's not my sister. No, she, at least from my knowledge, it's not. But no, that's very cool. So were you already like associated and doing stuff with Fightful beforehand, or did that just come from, hey, I'm not, on the road anymore, I might as well try to find something in the, the media world?
So I definitely started doing stuff in 2020.
Okay.
While we were locked in. I'm trying to remember if the gaming stream came first or if my appearance on Jeremy and Joe's The Distraction Show on the main Fightful channel, if that happened first.
Okay.
I was a musician, and they brought me on because they were doing like album reviews, and they started talking about the Elias albums as like the resident musician, and I gave my breakdown of every song, and like it was a legitimate, serious. No, it wasn't. We talked about every tune and just kind of made fun of them.
That is funny. That's very funny.
I'd have to go back and like figure out the timelines, but I felt like that happened, and then gaming stuff kind of took off from there because that just makes sense to me. But I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we won't make this all about wrestling because, you talk about wrestling enough in your daily life. But I feel like I don't know too much about your wrestling fandom. Who is your favorite wrestler of all time?
Oh, God. For a long time, it was The Undertaker. And then I realized what he does outside of the ring and how he feels outside of the ring. And I was like, I don't like The Undertaker as much anymore. From a character standpoint, yeah, The Undertaker was always my guy.
Okay.
I love Stone Cold Steve Austin, loved Goldberg because I'm a Jew, and that was really to get behind. Hey, it's true. I did an entire podcast talking about Jews in wrestling recently, and we were talking about MJF, and we were talking about Goldberg, and we were talking about QT Marshall is Jewish, and so is Masters. Yeah, these guys.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we talked about all that stuff, but for me, like that was representation that I felt because as a Jewish kid living in Canada, I was like, he's a champion. Raven was big, Sandman, a lot of the ECW guys, like the metal guys. I liked those guys. The dark.
Are you a big Raven guy?
Love Raven, still do to this day. He's on MLW now.
Is he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's leading a
Maybe
faction.
I did know that.
Yeah, he's got a couple of guys. He's leading a faction there.
Yeah, okay. I did see a video tweeted out that he like the Raven. What the hell is that group called when it was in Impact?
The Flock?
The
Or no,
Flock.
oh my god, when it was a TNA, I forgot what they were called.
Yeah, what the hell is that called? The Gathering?
The Gathering. Yeah, the
Yes.
Bowery was something else.
Yes. Okay. No, I do recall seeing something like that tweeted out from MLW. So no, good for Raven. Mine's always been Jeff Hardy, so that's where my fandom has always been. When did hold on, I'm trying to calculate the exact point because I tell Jeremy and I talked about this when he was on, because like as a kid, like mid 2000s, you think everything's great, and then you grow up and you realize, oh, that was kind of shit. Like I was a big like the first pay-per-view that I remember watching and buying was the Nexus's first match against Team Cena. And at the time, you're like 10 years old, you're like, fuck yeah, John Cena, kick some ass. And then you look back, you're like, oh man, that was some wasted potential. Did you like ever, like when you kind of grew up and looked back on certain things, like what was the one that stood out to you? Was like, oh wow, that actually wasn't good.
Oh man, so I've been a fan since since the mid 90s. And my memory's shit, so I got that going for me. It is and it isn't. It really depends on the day. But right now, I'm drawing a blank. The Cena stuff for sure was one of those moments where it's like you had all these young guys and you just made Cena go through everyone and make them all look like a bunch of bitches. That doesn't really work so well. But yeah, that's a pretty good example. I might just steal it from you.
That's fine. Yeah, I remember in the SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 game, I became infatuated with Eugene. And then like nowadays you look back, you're like, oh, that probably wasn't good.
It wasn't good, but they weren't like, they were making fun of it, but they were doing it in a way where he still was a credible wrestler.
Sure.
It was almost like it was a lovable character that it doesn't work today. Dude,
no.
But like if you look at it from the point of view of like, this guy he's a wrestling fan, he's somewhere on the spectrum, and he's also a really good wrestler. And he's a fan, but he happens to be trained and he happens to be really good at this. And he's a little different. And yeah, that worked. But some of the things they made him do, not so much. Some of the main
very much so. Yes, I agree. Trying to think of like who else I enjoyed growing up that like now I kind of don't.
You're a big Zach Gowen fan?
A big who?
Zach Gowen.
Why do I recognize that name?
One-legged wrestler.
Yes, okay, I remember that. No, I mean that was a little bit before my time actually. Like I didn't start watching until probably like 06, 07. I think Gowen.
He was
Gowen was like that thing with Lesnar was like what, 03, 04?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So I do remember whenever like in Kali's like first year, whenever he squeezed Rey Mysterio's head, everybody my age thought that Rey Mysterio like died. That was a week in my life.
You got the blood trickling out of Rey's mouth, and it's like, oh my god, he killed him.
He actually just ended a man's life on TV. Yeah, that was a fun era though. Like I always look back on those very fun, even though like I know most people say, oh, 2007 was such a shit year for WWE, which is, I mean, looking back, obviously, a lot of injuries and whatnot and a lot of changed plans. But, those are times I look back very fondly. I was always, whenever I do GM mode in 08, I would always manage ECW. I don't know why. I think I just liked being different.
Yeah, I get it. I do. I'm thinking about 08, and I'm just like, I tried to take MVP to the title in 09. I wanted to take him to every single title. I don't know why it was MVP, but God bless that man.
No, I remember when like MVP was first in a game and I would like create myself. I'd always give myself MVP's entrance because it kicked ass.
Yeah, I get it.
Coming out of that like tunnel thing and whatever, his song was cool.
Yeah, the greatest theme. Absolutely.
He did. That thing kicked ass.
Yes, it did.
Everything about him was really good.
Yeah. I miss MVP the wrestler.
MVP the wrestler. He had that really long losing streak at one point, didn't he? It was like 50 some matches. I can't remember like what year, but I do vaguely remember him going on this massive losing streak, and then they built him back up to when he won the US title.
I gotta go back and watch that.
That was a time. A lot of it took place on WWE Superstars when that became a Thursday night show again.
Yeah, everyone was watching that. Let me tell you, that in main event, people were really just glued to their television sets.
I think Vladimir Kozlov beat The Undertaker on WWE Superstars.
Vladimir Kozlov, who was on Impact last night.
He was. That made me happy. I enjoyed that. I will say this about Impact.
Sorry, go ahead.
Impact is like week to week. I try to tune in. I don't watch it like every week, but like if I can catch up on it and I'm scrolling through and I see it, I will keep it on just because Hannafin's my guy and I really like Deonna Purrazzo. And just everything that they do is just fun. Like seeing Santino as what's his official title? I know it's not like it's something goofy. I can't remember.
Director of Authority, the DOA.
So that's great. Everything that they do, and the wrestling's actually really good. I don't know why it just seems to like fly under the radar to most people.
I think, and Cresta Star and I, who do the post Impact show on Fightful, we've talked about this before. Impact's had a lot of chances in a lot of people's eyes over 20 years.
That's fair.
They have a pay-per-view called Hard to Kill because it's literally about how they have never been killed, and therefore Impact is hard to kill. And there's only so many chances you can give a company who go through that many regime changes, who go through that many just like personnel changes, that you got to find consistency or else you're going to give up. And this is probably the most consistent Impact's been since it started, like since the very first days of Jeff and Jerry Jarrett. Now they've been finding their feet since Anthem took over and gave it to Scott D'Amore and at the time Don Callis.
And it has been very good, and we're seeing now like 06 to like 09 I watched TNA like weekly just because one, like I fell in love with Samoa Joe, AJ Styles and those guys, but being a big Jeff Hardy fan, I didn't understand how wrestling politics worked and when guys got released and why they went places. So like every once in a while I'm like, oh shit, Jeff Hardy's here. That's pretty cool. And then I'd just be sucked into Impact even more. So I just followed Jeff Hardy wherever he went, I guess. That was kind of my wrestling life when I was in like 4th grade.
Big itchweed guy, were you?
Big what?
Big into itchweed when he did that gimmick. I love that shit. I'm so dumb.
Jeff Hardy has done so many things that are great, but he's also like he should never be allowed to like design a title belt again because those were horrible.
Awful.
Hopefully people learn that you should never turn him heel because no one's going to want to boo Jeff Hardy. So yeah, there's a few lessons learned by TNA and in that little era.
It's probably learned by him too, because some of that stuff was his own pitch.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully he comes back soon. I miss him terribly. So fingers crossed.
Hopefully he gets himself right and then he decides that he's ready to come back or not. And if he doesn't, then listen, just as long as he's good, as long as he's well.
Yes, very much agreed. As long as he is okay and doing well mentally. That's the most important thing for Jeff Hardy.
Totally.
Let's talk about something other than wrestling.
We started talking about music and then I kind of put us on wrestling for a second.
That's okay. Yeah, we can go back to music. Because I was talking about Jeremy Lambert. That seems to always come back to Jeremy Lambert on this show.
It was real bad to do that. The music thing is weird just because I haven't felt like going back to music yet. And like this is something that took up most of my life, touring and working with bands and just always, I never joined bands. And when I did, it would be like for a year or two and then I'm out because it either didn't work or it just wasn't what I wanted. And also like I could make more money doing the side gig and just get brought on for stuff, randomly. I'm thinking about before the pandemic and it was just like, it was all about music. Wrestling was second. And it was always just learning new music, new bands, and trying new things. And so, talking about like Sugarfoot and talking about Michael Jackson, like I played party bands. I played weddings and bar mitzvahs and all the shit that you could think of, all the bars. And it was wild. But I'd be out until like 4 or 5 in the morning. That doesn't really work so well now.
Yeah, no, I can imagine, having a 1-year-old child. That's probably not the the schedule that you would want to maintain.
Especially when he wakes up like about an hour, 2 hours after I get home in that case.
Sure. Yes. I'm sure that's probably not the easiest. In terms of music, man, I've fallen in love with the band The 1975.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
Dude, they rule. Now, there's a comedian who also really likes them. It's also one of my favorite comedians, Chris Stefano. He went on like a tangent about them. I'm gonna try not to do that, but it is really funny because they are very. It's like their demographic is definitely more females and whatnot. But dude, their music just makes me happy. It's very good.
Who's your pleasure band?
My guilty pleasure band. Oh, that's. Oh, I like this. I have probably 70 One Direction songs on my phone. I love One Direction.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I love One Direction. They are so good.
The only song that I really like by them is it's 2 chords, and it's "Steal My Girl."
That's a fantastic song. The music video for it's really good. Danny DeVito's in the music video for that song.
That's right. It's such a cheesy ass song, but it's so catchy.
Every one of One Direction's song is a cheesy ass song, and that's okay. Cheesy songs are good if done well, and absolutely. Most of theirs are done really well. Let me actually go through and I'll tell you all. I'll tell you like my 5 favorite One Direction songs.
This is quality content, let me tell you.
This is, man. See, I don't get to talk about One Direction too much when I do podcasts, so I'm very happy that you brought that up.
Here we go.
What?
So here we go.
One Thing's very good. I like One Thing.
Yep.
Let's see. Sometimes when I'm in the shower and one of these come on, I imagine that I'm in the music video, like singing it myself. And there's a little tidbit about me. Best Song Ever is pretty good. Story of My Life. That's like all of the mainstream ones are pretty good. I'm trying to give you a deep cut One Direction. Does He Know? There you go. There's a deep cut one. That's a good one.
All right, I'm gonna check that one out. I don't know that one.
There you go. So yeah, I'll just send you my entire One Direction playlist. Who else do I got? I got a lot of Big Time Rush on there too. Big Time Rush is fun.
Yep, I get that.
So when I'm not, listening to like more metal stuff, that's usually what I go to is more like boy bandy stuff. I'm a big boy band guy.
Really?
If not for, that's probably like my second career choice, honestly. If not for like writing, podcasting, and doing stuff like football related, I think that's legitimately something I would have tried to do.
Is being a boy band.
Being a boy band, yeah.
Do you have the pipes? Can you sing?
A little bit.
And can you dance?
I can't dance. That's the thing.
That's the thing, and especially now, even if it's like forget the boy band part. Like if you want to be in a pop act of any kind,
you got to be able to dance.
You got to dance. You got to be a triple threat. You got to sing, dance, and you got to act.
I could act. I legitimately right now, if I can tell you, I'm not even trying to suck my own dick here, Joel. I can act. I promise you, I can act.
I think you got to remove a couple of ribs for that if the Lord tells you anything.
I think Marilyn Manson did that, didn't he?
That's the rumor.
I'm a big Marilyn Manson music fan too.
Really? I never got into Manson. It was never my thing.
Yeah, I enjoy his. He reminds me a lot of the lead singer of a band that I really like now, like aesthetically and a little bit of the voice. So I went back recently and started listening to him more, and I like a decent amount of his stuff.
That's fair. I get it.
Yeah.
Shout out to The Beautiful People, the SmackDown theme song from 2002.
Such a fantastic song. Fantastic song. I love that song. I was talking. You could say talking to a girl. And I got into her car. She was driving, whatever. And I got into her car, and the first one that came on was "Beautiful People" by Marilyn Manson. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna go great," and it did. I mean, we're not together or anything, but like,
clearly it didn't go as well as you think.
Oh, I mean, it did.
Oh, it did.
It did.
Good for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. What's your guilty pleasure music? Do you have a select few?
I do. You know what? This is when I usually pull open my Spotify, and I'm just because my brain is so.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. Yeah, I had to do the same thing and look.
I'm gonna pull it up on monitor 3. What is it? What is my weird stuff? Hold on. I love Rick James.
To be honest, man, I don't know if I can name you a Rick James song.
Give It to Me, Baby is probably my favorite Rick James song.
Okay. I'll write that down.
And then Super Freak. You've heard Super Freak. That's a Rick James song.
Oh, that's a Rick James song? Okay. I didn't know that.
MC Hammer famously used it as, Can't Touch This.
Right. Okay. I didn't know that was a Rick James song. So,
man, who else is there? I'm looking through my live stream content. I'm a big Billy Joel fan.
Okay.
That's not really.
I was gonna say, I don't think that's a guilty pleasure.
No, it's not. I did like boy bands for a long time. Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, those were my guys. back in the day.
I tell you what, man, Justin Timberlake can do no wrong.
It's true. He's
Talk about triple threat. That's as good as you can get.
He's a guy who at Sarstock in 2003 in Toronto, when everyone was there to watch the Rolling Stones. Do you know the story?
No.
So Justin Timberlake was brought in for this big, massive concert in Toronto because SARS was a thing. You remember SARS?
I don't.
It was like a potential pandemic level threat.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. This is 2002, 2003. It was like swine flu was basically what it was supposed to be.
Okay.
And it was a big deal. So anyway, we got past it. It didn't end up being a thing, but we needed to rebuild the economy. So we had this big concert in Toronto as a result. And it's at Downsview Park, thousands and thousands, like 100,000 people show up. And the Rolling Stones are headlining because the Stones love Toronto. So Justin Timberlake's on the bill. He gets down. He's playing his tunes. You got a bunch of like bros and Canadian douchebags who are not into it. They're throwing bottles of him. They're throwing bottles at him. And Jarrett, those bottles are not empty.
Oh.
Yeah. But he went through it. He kept playing and he got through the set. Sounded great. Like my respect for Justin Timberlake that day went through the roof because he was a consummate professional to the point where like Rush was playing the same day. Like there were people who were like coming on stage and being like, this guy is the future of music, and saying it matter of factly. And look at him now. He became the future of music.
I did not know that story. No, good for Justin Timberlake for.
You can find videos of it. You can very much, because that was.
I'm gonna have to now. Now I'm just curious.
Yeah, it was a very popular show back in 2003.
You know what I want to do? I want to be able to decide who plays at the Super Bowl halftime show because I'm tired of all these like white bread, just famous for being famous artists. Now, I'm not saying that Rihanna's not good. Don't get me wrong. I get why she's popular and whatnot. It's just not my thing. And I'm tired of just having pop people do this. It's about time that we stood up and made something different happen.
Jared, I'm going to tell you a secret.
Okay.
The Super Bowl halftime show?
Yeah.
It's not for you.
You're right. It isn't for me. You know what? You're right. It's not.
It's literally for everyone who's not watching the football game, while the people who watch the football game are tending to other needs. Bathroom, food, go out, get more beer, whatever you're doing. The Super Bowl halftime show is not your entertainment. It is the entertainment for literally everyone who's doing everything while the game's on.
That's a fantastic point that I didn't take into consideration.
Always the point of the Super Bowl halftime show. By the way, Prince, probably the best Super Bowl halftime show of all time.
What year was that? I forget. Was that like 08?
I don't know. Ooh, was it maybe in 09? I gotta look it up.
Yeah, that's fine. I cannot remember I know it was 07? 2007. That would have been Colts Bears then. That's not, yeah, because it was in the rain, wasn't it?
Yes, and that was like what made it even more emotional, even like amazing, because it's Prince playing in the rain, playing Purple Rain. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, you can't. You couldn't have booked a better venue and a better time for that. That's awesome. Yeah. No, they had like the Rolling Stones played at Super Bowl 40, and then Prince was 41.
So there are times where yes, they kind of break from this, but only in the last 10 years, really, maybe even 20 years, has it been a pop act.
Yeah,
and that's because they saw what the opportunities were.
How much do you want to bet? What do you think the numbers would be if like Taylor Swift did it? I feel like they would break records that wouldn't be broken.
They do very well. I don't know if they'd be able to pay Taylor enough, though. That's the problem.
You don't think?
I don't think so.
It's the NFL.
It's the NFL, but Taylor Swift is making more money than the NFL might be.
No.
That's a hot take. I know. But listen, man, she's not only selling out every single venue, stadium show she's playing starting tonight, but like she's doing it at obscene prices.
What do you think her net worth is? Let's play this game. Let's play celebrity net worth.
I can't even begin to tell you.
She's getting up there, no doubt. But I don't know. I'll take a guess and say 300 million for Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. And according to a website that probably does not actually know, they're saying 400 million.
I'm seeing one that says 570 million.
Yeah, I see that too. From August Man.
Yeah.
And I'm looking here at celebritynetworth.com.
Who says 400 million? I would buy that. Sounds about right?
I never trust any of this shit.
That's fine. Yeah.
I'm a big YouTube guy now. Like processing YouTubers and like understanding their business, or at least trying to. And Mr. Beast was like making stupid amounts of money.
I've never understood what makes him so entertaining. Can I say that?
That's fair. I get it. He's I don't know. I think he's a bit of an acquired taste, but it also helps that his content's engaging. He has the right people around him on camera, and also like he wants to make you feel good in every single way.
Which is good. Yeah, sure.
And
it's just not for me, you know?
I get it. Like, and his philanthropy stuff is actually really cool.
Yes, and that's awesome stuff that he's doing. I'm not trying to like dump on like his philanthropy and whatnot. It's just, yeah, I've just never gotten the content side of it, you know?
It took me a while until I started actually watching his stuff, because I have this like thing when it comes to watching people who are already popular or TV shows that are already popular.
Dude, you and I, how have we not become closer? Because I am so counter pop culture in that same way, where I am with you, man.
If thousands of people are talking about it, I
am not watching it.
I'll wait until it's died down. Breaking Bad was like that for me. Breaking Bad, I didn't start watching it until we got to like the last season or two.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I was like, oh shit, people were right. I got to catch up. But like, I don't get into that now. The Blacklist was probably the last time where I really cared.
I haven't watched any of Breaking Bad. I love Bryan Cranston, and that's one that I might actually eventually watch.
You should.
I never watched Game of Thrones. That's one I will never watch. And it's nothing against that. It's just that's just too much of a time commitment that I don't have and don't want to make time for.
I tried it and I just didn't enjoy it personally.
I'm also not a sci-fi guy, so like I just feel like I wouldn't enjoy it.
Yep, that's fair.
Harry Potter. I've seen the first 2 Harry Potters, and I didn't mind it. Because a girl I used to date, she was a big Harry Potter person. She's like, you have to watch Harry Potter. I was like, fine, fuck it, we'll watch Harry Potter. And I enjoyed it. I just, once her and I stopped dating, I didn't have a reason to keep watching them. So I've watched the first 2 Harry Potters. Now, I did like Lord of the Rings. I was a big Lord of the Rings kid. So there's exceptions for every rule. I haven't watched Ozark. I'm probably not gonna. There's a lot of movies that I just haven't seen either. Are you similar in that light?
I am. And it's funny because I once in a while will look at Facebook memories if I'm just bored. And I used to watch a lot of movies.
Oh, yeah?
When I did, I would like comment on whatever I was watching. And then I just slowly stopped watching movies because it just takes up too much of my time. This is when I would like be able to stay up until 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
And I could just be bored and single and probably depressed. I would throw on a movie and watch.
That's going to be the name of my memoir: Bored, Single, and Depressed.
Bored, single, probably depressed. Yeah, when I was doing that, I was just like, I was watching a lot of movies, and sometimes they were really good, and sometimes they were dog shit.
Yeah. I'm not a big movie guy. If there is like a popular movie, I'm similar kind of, I'm probably not gonna watch it. I'm not a big Marvel guy. I gave those like a decent chance. I just don't like them. It's not for me. I watch Batman stuff. That's about it. I watch like 5 things: Batman, wrestling, football, Vampire Diaries. I watch 4 things. Never mind. those are the 4 things.
I because I'm a completionist. I watch wrestling, and like the worst thing to be as a completionist is a wrestling fan.
A wrestling fan,
because it never fucking ends. So every time I'm like, I'm off the trolley. I miss one week and I'm just like, ah, shit, I gotta watch. It's the same thing. Like, I guess that's why I'm suited to like news and talking about it and talking to people about stuff, because I just want to know. And I want to like be up to date on what's going on. Fun fact: when I worked on a cruise ship, when I was doing the music thing, my first ship, they called the band I was with called me Newsy, because I was the guy who would get all the scoops, like dating, some people hooking up, whatever it was. Like someone would always confide in me that something was going on, and they're like, "Oh, you're so easy to talk to." I'm just like, "Yeah, but I got all your fucking secrets now."
I'm also the person that gets told everything from like both ends of the story, and like you just sit with all this information. Now, I never like reveal it or anything, but I always sit with them like, all right, I'm that person who everybody comes to. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best part. You have to be trustworthy, otherwise, no one's going to talk to you.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
I had something in my head that I was going to say, and I forget what it is. Don't you hate when that happens?
Must not have been important.
It must not have. I feel like it kind of was.
Typically, my wife will tee that up with, "Oh, you know, the thing with the thing," and I'm just like, "Oh yeah, the thing."
Yes, thank you very much. The thing with the thing,
and then it's lost forever.
Yeah, I think it might be just gone forever. Gone forever. Aaron Hernandez. That's always been an inside joke with me and my friends.
Good lord.
Yeah, it's not great.
You know.
Oh, bro, the humor that I have is repulsive to most people. I feel like when I say most people, I mean women. They don't. A lot of women don't like the dark humor. All my friends find it funny.
Single, bored, and depressed.
Single, bored, and depressed. Exactly. That's where it
Actually,
comes
the
from.
name of this podcast. No notes. No notes. Single, bored, and depressed.
You might have just done something, Joel.
Oh dear.
I don't know. I don't know if I have enough time for another show. I think we're just gonna have to stick with this one.
Just rebrand this one. You got time.
That's not a bad idea. Oh, that's funny.
Time.
Do you like stand-up comedy?
I do. Who doesn't? Who's gonna sit here and be like, Jared, I think stand-up comedy is horseshit. I think anyone who listens to stand-up comedy is basically a Nazi. Like, who the fuck is gonna say I hate comedy?
Well, I mean, like, do you watch it enough to be into it?
Yes and no.
Okay.
One of the smartest moves I ever made, and some people will laugh at this, was start listening to the Mark Maron podcast, WTF.
I love Mark Maron.
Yeah, and so do I. And Mark will bring on comedians because that is part of his sphere.
Yeah.
And when he does, it opens me up to some that I've never heard of and some that I've loved forever. And then some where I'm just like, oh my God, I used to like Dane fucking Cook.
Dane Cook's a goof.
He's a douchebag. But anyway, the point being, I do like comedy, and anyone who tells you they don't are just miserable, bored, depressed, and single.
I absolutely agree. There's so many that I enjoy, and I think that's what keeps me going in life right now is just stand-up comedy and just making me laugh. What's up?
Who's your guy, or who's your or girl in comedy that like you always go back to?
There's a few. I'll give you like some that like I recently got into like in the last year, and then I'll give you like I'll start off with like my traditional forever go-tos. Jim Gaffigan. I love Jim Gaffigan.
Okay.
Who else is like always going to be their go-to? Bill Burr. He's hilarious, and I enjoy him a lot. Recently, a lot Jerry Seinfeld. I adore Jerry Seinfeld.
Okay, I can get behind that.
George Carlin, Tom Segura, Chappelle, and probably John Mulaney. I like Mulaney a lot.
Yeah, Mulaney's good. He's always been funny.
He's always been hysterical, and I'm rooting for him and very happy that he has gotten clean. So very happy for John Mulaney. I found out that I do a really solid John Mulaney impression. At least my sisters tell me I do.
You realize you invoke it, and you have to do it.
Oh, it's loud.
It's like yeah, that's fine, but it's just like bringing in the steel chair in a wrestling match.
That's true.
You introduce it, you're gonna have
to. Usually when I do it, I just say like him introducing himself, because JB Smoove. That's what JB Smoove did when he was on. I think it was on Fallon when he did his Mulaney. Or he's like, to do John Mulaney, you just got to be like really high pitched and be like, "Hello, I'm John Mulaney." Like it's just stuff like
RJ City.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, I'm just now realizing that RJ and John Mulaney kind of sound alike.
They do.
Wow, you might have just done Joel Pearl.
Do anything. It's ruin everyone's time.
No, that didn't ruin anything. That just enlightened me, I think.
Oh dear, don't tell RJ. He'll take that to the bank.
RJ cracks me up. He's a good dude. Very good dude.
He is a good guy. I can't say a negative thing about him other than the interview that we did last year where he talked at me for 15 minutes after he made me wait almost an hour for him to like get ready to do the interview. He psyched me out, Jarrett.
Did he?
He psyched me out. I was like, is this guy ever coming? Like, what are we doing here? It's hot. It's the middle of the summer. I want to go home. Oh. I just had to talk to Serpentico. Like, come on, what are we doing?
That's funny. Where was it at?
So Toronto at Greektown Wrestling, where I will be tomorrow night if you're watching live, but otherwise the 18th of March.
Oh, very fun. So wait, what's happening tomorrow in Toronto?
So tomorrow in Toronto it's called Greektown Wrestling. They're an indie promotion. They're starting to expand and go outside of just the Toronto bubble. They're going to other cities in Ontario, which is great.
Okay.
So they bring in different wrestlers from locally and internationally. So Homicide's coming in for tomorrow night's show. Evil
Okay.
Uno from AEW, he'll be there.
Lovely.
He's also local to me because we both grew up in Ottawa. So does Stu Grayson, for that matter, who just re-signed with AEW. Yeah, so they bring in different people. The Wardlow interview that I got was because he was at Greektown Wrestling.
Okay.
So I kind of struck up a bit of a friendship with the owner there. His name's Channing Decker. He's the guy who's also their champion. He's the guy behind Greektown. So I went to the shows for a long time, and then eventually I started doing work with Fightful, and then they came back from pandemic, and we all just started saying, let's work together. So
Nice. Very nice.
yeah, I get access, and they get their stuff on the website.
My one of my closest friends in the football writing business, he trained under the Impact umbrella and now does commentary for an indie in Detroit. So very cool. Very cool.
What's the name?
What is the name? I'll have to pull it up. But their latest show, which I think you can still watch on IWTV, it was a Hockey Town Street Fight or something. I think that's what they officially called it, because they had like a Red Wings legend there, and I think he was actually a part of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but no, they had Mr. Anderson come, and a few other respected known names. But yeah, I would have to find it, and I can send that to you. Let me see if I'm going back through him and I's messages just so I can try to find it, because I want to give it its due diligence because it is very fun to watch. But yeah, I'm a big indie wrestling guy. There's a few in the Pittsburgh area, not too many like shows that take place in the city, but around that you have access to. Yeah. So I think Kate's actually doing one in Pittsburgh.
Is she really?
I think she's commentating on one. Yeah.
I know she does work with the one in New York. It's on the tip of my tongue and I forget. Excite Wrestling.
She tagged me in something. She's like, that I better be there because it's in Pittsburgh and it's like on the street like that I used to live below. So it's like right there.
I wonder if that was a show where the champion of Excite he's the heel and he lives in Pittsburgh or something like that.
That might be it.
Yeah, one of those cross-state rivalry type of things. Maybe that.
Either way, she tagged me in it, so I that's reminded me of that. Oh yeah, we were talking about stand-up. What are your go-to stand-ups? You asked me mine. I figured I should ask you yours.
So Bill Burr for sure is high on that list. Eddie Murphy, Carlin's one.
I watched Delirious for the first time like last year, and hilarious.
You can't say any of that shit now, but all of it.
No.
But societally, it still holds up.
Yes.
And Mitch Hedberg is forever the guy that you can quote every single joke he's ever told.
I haven't watched too much of Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, so good.
Does he have any specials that I can stream?
I'm sure all of them are available. There aren't that many, like there aren't a ton, but like his jokes are the ones they're all just like zippy one-liners that you can.
I'm a big fan of zippy one-liners, so that helps.
Yeah, he's the type of guy who'll tell the joke just like was it like an escalator is never broken, it's just become stairs. Sorry for the convenience or some shit like that. Like there's little shit like that he'll tell the jokes, and I'll butcher every one of them. Price is great when you're hungry and you want 2,000 to something.
Okay, I can get behind that. That sounds fun.
He just takes little jokes and like it's so stupidly relatable because rice is something you eat. Yeah. You're like, oh, makes you think. It's the dumbest shit in the world.
If you get the chance, I don't know if you've watched any of Sam Morril, but he's very funny.
I haven't, but I should.
He is like, he's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Deadpan, I guess, is like just the way he says things, just like so nonchalantly and hilarious. It's very good. Jimmy Carr, he is.
Yeah, Jimmy Carr is good.
I adore Jimmy Carr. He's hilarious. He was on, whose roast was he on? But there was a Fox News lady who was also part of that roast, and he just tore her to pieces, and it was hilarious, just hilarious. Pete Davidson also tore into her. I can't remember who the fuck it was though.
It wasn't Ann Coulter.
It was Ann Coulter. Yes, it wasn't. because Pete Davidson starts off his thing where he's like, Ann Coulter's here. Ann Coulter, if you're here, then who's protecting our crops?
Right.
And he's like, Ann calls herself a polygamist, which is different from what other people call her, a cunt. And I was like, oh my God.
Samantha Bee is another one that you should check out.
She's good. I like her. Nikki Glazer too. She's very funny.
Yeah, I like her stuff. Who's the one who keeps showing up on Kill? Oh, Nicole Byers. She's really funny.
I've seen her. I haven't like watched any of her stuff in depth, so I won't pretend to be too invigorated with hers yet. But
she's fun.
Okay, I'll make a mental note of that. Now, Nikki Glazer, she's appeared on a bunch of stuff. Like she's in that group with like, if you like Bert Kreischer, he has a show on Netflix called The Cabin, where he just has different comedians come on and hang out with him in a cabin. Nikki Glazer's on an episode of that, and she's very funny on it.
Nice.
Yeah, any comedian that has a podcast right now, I probably enjoy. Like Theo Vaughn's another one that I really enjoy. He's just a giant goof. But yeah, and like I like Rogan's stand-up a lot. I know people don't like Rogan. I like his stand-up. I think it's funny. But I don't agree with all the things that he stands for, obviously. But
I thought this podcast was all about the Joe Rogan experience.
Maybe it is.
Oh God.
maybe that's I'm being paid for by Big Rogan.
Big Rogan. What's Little Rogan then? Don't answer that. Don't answer.
There's a lot of things Little Rogan could be. I know that a lot of people tend to dislike him. That's fine. You can disagree with what he says. I disagree with a lot of what he says, but his comedy makes me laugh.
No, I get that. I do. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can point out and say, yeah, you shouldn't do that. And I totally get that. I will say though, I don't care about, like, especially in comedy, like I don't care about somebody's like political alignment though. As long as something's funny to me and it makes me laugh, I don't care. Like I'm a liberal leaning person, but like if you say something that makes fun of like a liberal thing, it's still funny to me. I don't care.
Comedy's comedy as long as you're not attacking somebody for like something that's, as long as you don't go over the line.
Sure. Do you like Jeselnik? Anthony Jeselnik's
never really my guy.
Okay. I enjoy Anthony Jeselnik.
Jeselnik's best thing and his best and worst thing was introducing the world to Amy Schumer.
She might be the unfunniest person whose job is to be funny. There's
a lot of that.
I just don't enjoy her.
She's had a few, and then she always gets caught stealing other people's jokes, and then it's game over.
Didn't Dolph Ziggler do a round with her one time?
She talked about how they had very athletic sex.
And that Dolph had a lot of stamina, which I could see.
That's the thing. I mean, athletes, it's just go to the Olympics. That's all they do.
All right. Shot out of the cannon. 5 male wrestlers who have the best sexual stamina. Ready, go. I'm kidding. We don't have to do that. We could.
No, absolutely not.
Ricky Starks.
I am the wrong guest for that conversation. I can point you to a bunch of horny people on Twitter that I go ahead. It ain't me.
I mean, I'm like tongue-in-cheek horny on Twitter when certain wrestlers appear on screen. And when I say certain, there's 2 of them. But like, it's also like I just say that I would dive on a live grenade for Jamie Hayter. That's about as horny as I'll get on Twitter.
Yeah, you people are weird.
That's as far as I'll go, though. I'm not these people like tweeting out pictures of Liv Morgan's butt. That's weird.
Okay, yes, that is weird.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to segue out of this. I feel like I've surrounded myself in a hole of horniness and I can't get out.
Feels like we should probably get out of this for your sake.
Hole of horniness. That's what we'll rename the show.
That sounds. Yeah, you know what? Go for it. You know what? I won't be around, but I will have at least played a part in the renaming of the show.
That's true. So we've got single, lonely, and depressed.
Yep.
And the single, lonely, depressed hole of horniness with Jared Bailey.
Buddy, I think you got it.
I think we put it 2 together. I'm very,
very important question for you.
Yes.
When will you change your Twitter handle to J Bailey XFL?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Have you considered it?
I have not considered it. it's just been this for so long, and I'm predominantly, that's what people follow me for is, writing and podcasting about the NFL. And, I had a conversation with somebody. I know it's not XFL related. I'm kind of going on a tangent, but they had asked me because like they follow me and we're friends in terms of like the writing business and whatnot. And he knows that I'm big into wrestling and whatnot, and that I occasionally do stuff for Fightful. And he asked me like if I had ever if there was a world where I was offered like a full-time wrestling writing job, would I take it? And I had to like sit back and be like, I don't know. Like genuinely, I don't know. Because like football's always been the plan. And I don't know if I would be like, it would be fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure I would enjoy it, but it would just be something that I don't know.
So, because I know that no one will ever listen to this show, because it does. And honestly, if it blows up, let's face it, nobody's getting this deep into the conversation that this is okay. Jeremy Lambert. I'll put over Jeremy Lambert. He was very good at expectation setting when we started working together, because he asked me, he's like, what do you want to do in this sphere, in this wrestling media sphere? And he flat out said, there's no money in this business. And he's right. He's 100% right.
Yeah.
And I never, I said like, oh, want to get a little bit of, opportunity to boost my following and work on just like content creation, things like that, and at the time, Jeremy was like doing pretty well on Twitter in terms of numbers and engagement. He's like, it sucks. Don't do it either. He's like, talk to Sean. Sean will tell you that it's the worst thing to have 200,000 followers or whatever it is. And he's right. It's absolutely true. Having a large amount of followers is just the biggest pain in the ass imaginable if you pay attention to them. But my point being here, if you're ever offered a job full-time in wrestling, make sure the money is real good and the contract is real ironclad. Because
yeah, man, like I'm at a point in life where, how do I want to say this? Like I knew what I was getting into when like I wanted to pursue stuff like this. And I understand that. It is hard sometimes knowing that maybe this is the wrong way to phrase it, but like I feel like I'm falling behind, if that makes sense. Because like I see, all my close friends who went to school for, X major, Y major, and who are, making, decent livings for themselves and whatnot. And, I'm just kind of grinding my ass off and doing all I can, and I just feel like I'm stuck in the sand. So it is hard. It is hard.
What was your major in school?
Journalism.
You're a journalism major. Okay.
I was.
Okay. It is tough.
It is.
And I'm not a major, so it's perfect.
You're what?
And I'm not a journalism major, so it's perfect. I was like, I'm never going to be a writer. God, no. I can write, but I was like, I don't want to do that gig because that is a thankless piece of shit journey.
Yeah.
And I have some friends outside of the wrestling bubble who do it, and I'm just like, no, it's not for me.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I knew what I was getting. I think like the very, very beginning, I was a little bit naive. Like 18-year-old Jarrett was like, all right, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do well. I know what I'm talking about. I'm going to graduate, and then I'm going to go be on ESPN. Then when like I actually got there, I was like, oh yeah, that's not how that works. But at the same time, I was like, regardless, sticking with it. I understand, the process. It's a long journey. It's hard. But I'm sticking with it. And yeah, man, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It is stressful and it is difficult sometimes. And there are times where I do kind of sit and reflect and be like, oh, goddamn, like I want this to take off more.
You have to grab it by the brass rings, I've been told.
I'm doing my damnedest to do that.
I've had this conversation with more people than I'd like to admit at this point. The idea of like follow through when it comes to content creation, and I think that writing falls into this. There are so many people who, in my world of doing podcasting and finding people who want to do podcasting, people who stay committed to it, because there is the number out there that it's like 3 episodes in, most people give up. Because the commitment's not there, or they're expecting something that's not going to happen immediately. Like this idea that we're looking for this immediate sense of satisfaction, this immediate hit of dopamine, kind of like the social media world's given us. Get that, because it's hard work. It is work. You don't just show up, turn on the camera, and hope for the best. Like, you have to have some sort of mindset and preparation, not on this show, but like on a bunch of other shows that are more right.
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes. And I think that writing's very similar. Like, it is a grind. You work extra hard. It ebbs and flows too, right? Like, you're creating this great stuff, and eventually you get a lot of opportunities, but then the opportunities might end, or you get a short-term contract, whatever it is. Like, the stability is kind of lacking. That's tough.
Yeah. I think I've decided that I'm going to give myself till like age 28. And if it doesn't work out, I'm just going to do porn.
You got no, I'm not. No, I'm not gonna ask. No, I'm not. No.
Joel? Ask it. Come on, ask it. Ask it. No, ask it. No. This is no notes, Joel. Come on.
Yeah, by the end of this, it's going to be no Joel either. Not happening.
God damn it.
No.
Now you're going to make me curious. That's my least favorite thing to be, is curious.
Well, too bad. You're going to have to go on your own journey of self-exploration for the answers.
Damn it. I told my mom that joke, and I don't know if she appreciated it too much, but it was funny.
At 20, I've had a weird career. I got
okay.
Like,
Tell me.
So I went to school for radio and television production.
Okay. Where'd you go? Was it somewhere in Canada, I assume?
Yeah, I went to Ryerson University, which is like the only university that actually offers this type of like production school.
Okay.
This is how competitive it is. It was one of those like 5,000 apply, 400 get an interview, 150 get admitted every year to the program.
Damn.
I did my interview, because this is before Zoom. I did my interview in person in Toronto, coming from Ottawa, which is about a 5-hour drive. So as a kid, taking the bus
Damn.
for a few days, because I was like, I'm doing my interview in person. I am not doing it over the phone. So yeah, I came in and I got lucky. I got into the program. So I did my 4 years there. Had a really, really weird time there. I wish I had come a year later when I had more of a head on my shoulders, because 18 is really fucking young to go to school and expect to know what you're doing with your life.
Sure.
I was really involved with the Jewish life on campus group there, the Hillel, which is like just Jews on campus. Like, that's all it is. not political. We were just a bunch of Jews who like to hang out, and it was a social club.
That, Joel, I'm not trying to interrupt you. Just a bunch of Jews hanging out is a great idea for a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, they have that. Isn't that basically what Segura's podcast is? Anyway, plenty of those. So yeah, so I did the Hillel thing, and then I was offered a job running one of those Jewish life on campus groups on a different campus, not my home campus where I graduated from, because I knew people there, and it was just you couldn't muddy that line. Okay. So I went up to a different school. I was there for 3 years, and I was like, yeah, maybe this is the life for me, working in nonprofit management, working as a social connector, a relationship manager type of person. And then I was like, but I want to move up, and I want to become a director track. Like, I want to go on a directorship track. And my boss at the time was like, well, if you do that, you got to get your master's. And if you're going to get your master's, you have to go to a school in just outside of Boston, and you have to get like this specific master's degree so that you could become like a professional Jew. And I'm like, I have to become a professional Jew? So I didn't do it. I studied for the GREs for the grand total of 2 weeks, decided I hate the idea of taking the GRE test and just going back to school in general. So I started looking for other gigs, and I found myself working on a cruise ship as a musician in the weirdest way possible. I replied to an ad on Craigslist, Jarrett.
Oh, wow. Craigslist.
Yeah, this is before people got murdered on Craigslist as like a major.
This wasn't like, you give me a hand job, I'll give you my coffee table Craigslist. This is
I'm looking for a bassist to work on a cruise ship. And I was like, this sounds fun.
That does sound fun.
So I replied. It was January of 2012. And I just said, hey, if you're looking for a guy, I have experience. And I was like, lying, talking on my ass. And the guy was like, at the time, he was like, hey, I've got a guy, but I'll keep you in mind just in case. This was, again, January 2012. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm sure it's not happening.
Sure.
Email at the end of March 2012 from a random email address that I did not recognize. And it was the guy saying, "Hey, my bass player can't make it. Can you learn all these songs in 8 days plus rehearsals, plus you have to do all the medical stuff? And I have to give you an audition. So like, can I come over tonight and try you out?" And I was like, "Oh shit." I did the audition. I flopped the audition.
Oh.
He said, "I'm going to come back. I'm going to call you in about 40 minutes. I'm going to go talk to my drummer because he's my right-hand man. And I don't know. Maybe my keyboard player could be the guy who does this, but like for now, it's going to be like, I don't know." So 40 minutes go by. He calls me back like exactly 40 minutes later. And he's like, "I spoke to my drummer. He believes that you can do it. You seem very confident. And I think that you will be able to do it too. So let's do it." I had to learn 80 songs in like no time. I had to rehearse those songs and pray to God that I don't fuck up everything.
Oh.
I had to do.
Did you?
Oh, it was awful. For my first 2 weeks there, I was just a mess. I never got off the ship. Like for the first 2 weeks, I spent all of my free time practicing, making charts, trying to do anything I could to like be a professional, because I sure as shit was not when I started the gig.
Oh my goodness.
But because I played every single day for the entirety of my contract, I became a much better bassist. And so I finished that gig and I came home and I was like, I don't know what to do. I started a band. It was about to go somewhere, but then cocaine got involved and it broke up. It wasn't me. I'm not I'm not a drug user at all. But some people were getting involved with that, and we had a record deal in place. Like we were about to do something, and then someone who was very highly involved with cocaine was like, "I want to fire the singer." I was like, "This is suicidal." Like the person who's bringing us in to do this record, the producer specifically wanted to work with this singer. If you boot this singer, there's no album, there's no band. Like I'm walking if you boot the singer. 2 days later, he calls me up and he's like, "Hey, I'm booting the singer." I'm like, "Well, I'm going too. By the way, I happen to own everything management related to this band. So you're out of the rehearsal space by the end of the month. You're like, you don't own the domain. You don't have the email access. You don't have any of the copyright. Like, bye-bye." And it ended pretty poorly. We've since kind of made up, but like we run different circles. I went back on ships. Years later, I went back to the ships. And that was a different experience. But yeah, music was there, but I was always like in between other stuff. And then I started doing wrestling.
That is fascinating.
It's weird.
Weird and fascinating are just, brother and sister,
Yeah, but they're not supposed to be that. Anyway. Apparently Purdue's out of March Madness.
What about March Madness?
Apparently Purdue is out.
No.
The 1 seed is out. Yep.
I was this close to betting on the 16 seed, but I didn't.
Fairleigh Dickinson just took out Purdue.
Wow. College basketball, man. That's why I can't do it.
Paid attention for 2 or 3 seasons when I was in college, university, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Because I was producing a sports show on the local radio network.
Okay.
After that I was done.
Yeah, no, there is like when I was beginning doing this, like I was like, all right, I got to be, involved in like every sport, be knowledgeable. And then once like I started like actually like doing it, I was like, oh, football's like the only one I'm like crazy about. So that's how it came to be. Now I like hockey. Like I'm still a very like strong hockey fan and whatnot. Especially around this time of year. Like I'm casual from like October to like end of January, and then February till June I get more into it.
I can't be a hockey fan anymore.
Because of the Senators?
Both my teams suck, Jarrett.
The other one's what, the Ducks?
Yeah. Right now the only thing the Sens have going for them is the idea that Ryan Reynolds will own the Senators because he just sold Mint Mobile to T-Mobile.
He did do that for like $1.5 billion.
$5 billion. Great. Good for you. Van City Reynolds. Purchase the Sens so I can get out of my misery. Okay?
He can have another show about owning a sports team. He has one about what, Tottenham?
I don't give a shit as long as that team starts winning a game and not letting in random ass fucking goals on a Colorado.
How about that?
Oh my God.
Thought it was icing. They said nope.
hold the puck.
Yeah, I mean that is, the moral of the story, I guess, is just hold on to the puck till you hear a whistle.
I was,
At least they went back to like their older logo, which is much better than the one that they had.
yeah, that's what Sens fans needed.
Yeah,
Used to go buy another jersey.
I like the logo.
Of
I would
course.
buy a Senator's hat.
The only Sens jersey that I own is one with that newer logo, not the remake, but like
Right.
the cartoony one. And it's a third jersey, so like nobody has it but me.
Oh,
So like it stands out in a crowd, which is great. But like, goddamn, and I own like 8 Ducks jerseys.
are any of them? Let me guess. Your Ducks jersey collection is one of that. Corey Perry.
Yeah, and that's the only fake one I have from Hong Kong.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, I got that one in a Gretzky Winter Classic Rangers jersey, which I gifted to my brother.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because I was when we were in Shanghai, we were at all the fake markets.
Very cool. I want to go to a fake market. That sounds fun.
It's so cool. We took a cab in. This was when we were doing the ships thing. We took an unmarked cab, and we didn't know because we don't speak Chinese,
Right.
any other language at the time. And so at the end of it, we're going to pay, and a cop actually stops us like in front, like as we're in the car. A cop walks up to the front of the taxi and is like, "Don't pay, don't pay. This is an unmarked cab. Like, do not pay. You're not supposed to be in this." Like, we all got out. We had to pay for the cab.
Jesus, that's kind of nice.
I don't even remember how we got. Oh no, there were buses that afternoon, but it was a weird experience.
So one of them is a Corey Perry. I assume the other one's like a Ryan Getzlav.
No, I don't have a Getsy jersey.
Oh, okay.
I think half of them are blank.
Oh, okay. So they're just like the logo then.
Yeah. So half of them are blank, but I think 3 or 4 of them have names on them.
So one of them Timo Solani?
Yes, my Solani jersey is an old CCM one with
very nice, very nice. Is that like the purple one?
No, I do have the purple one though, but that one's unmarked, and I think I've had it since I was 13 years old.
Very nice. Scott Niedermeyer, he was a Duck for a minute, wasn't he?
He was. I don't have him. The person that I have is probably a shock, and people aren't big fans of him.
Okay. Oh,
he was part of the cup-winning team, I think.
Cup-winning team. So that was what, 06, 07?
That was 07, yeah.
What position?
Defense.
Defense for the Ducks. I don't know. Who is it?
Chris Pronger.
Ah, yeah. People don't like Chris Pronger.
Yeah, people really do not like Chris Pronger.
He was on that team?
Pardon?
He was on that team?
Yeah, he was on that team.
I didn't know that.
He was definitely on the Ducks during like those good years. Yeah, in 2007. Yeah, he was there.
My favorite thing about hockey is that like you can go back and find like any great player. You can probably find like a team that they just randomly played for like 10 minutes. Like Jerome McGinley was a Penguin for half a year.
That's true.
Yeah.
Remember when that girl took a selfie of Jaromir Jagr in bed with her when he was single?
What?
And he was like, "Yeah, that's me."
No.
Do you not know about this? Oh yeah.
No.
Hold on.
Jaromir Jagr is a fucking legend. I love Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah. It was in 2015. The Hockey News. This is my favorite headline ever. Jaromir Jagr blackmailed with photo. Could not care less about it.
What a legend. That's hilarious. He's still playing in Russia, isn't he? Or maybe I'm making that up.
Who knows?
That's absurd. Absurd.
What is Jagr up to now?
I don't know.
Let's find out, shall we? Hockey DB. 22-23, the Kladno Knights in Czech.
Oh my God.
He has played 26 games, has 5 goals, 9 assists, and 14 points.
I mean, he's how old now?
Too old.
Got to be like mid-50s minimum.
51, born in 72.
Hey, good for him.
Yeah.
People are going to keep paying him to play. Might as well.
His last year in the NHL was with the Calgary Flames in 17-18.
Oh my God. How many? Okay, so let's see. Calgary Flames. He was a Penguin, obviously.
Yep.
This is going to take a while. So Flames, Penguin, Bruins.
He was a Bruin for all of one season.
He was a Flyer, wasn't he?
He was a Flyer for all of one season.
Okay. He was a Ranger.
He was a Ranger.
I believe he was their captain for a minute because in like mid 2000s they had Yager, they had Marty Straka, and they had Darius Kasparaitis, who are all former Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Rangers, Capitals.
He played with the Caps for 3 seasons.
There's got to be a bunch of other ones that are just like 1-year things.
Shockingly, there's only 2 more that we're missing.
2 more. What conference?
Oh God, the Eastern and 1 Western.
Oh God. Oh, was he a Blackhawk?
He was not a Blackhawk.
Damn it.
But
Oh,
one year when he was in the West, he only played 34 games.
okay. Was it a Canadian team?
No.
So not a Canadian team.
The only Canadian team he played for was the Flames.
Okay. So both teams are in the States. The Devils.
The Devils are on that list, yes. I thought we had mentioned them, so there's still 2 more teams after that.
Oh, okay. Damn it. I was going to say, because that image just popped in my head of him in a Devils uniform. I don't know why.
So that was 14 and 15.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. This is fun. The Panthers.
There we go. He was traded from the Devils to the Panthers.
Yes.
Okay. And then where did he come from before the Bruins?
So that was a Western Conference team before the Bruins,
mm-hmm.
which means that would have had to have been. He was Bruin in like the early 2010s, right?
He was a Bruin in 2012, 2013.
Okay, so he came from somewhere.
In the 2012-13 season, he played for 3 teams.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
2 of which were NHL teams. Because he probably left the Flyers in 12 and said, I'm going to go
play in Russia.
I'm going to go play in Czechoslovakia until someone picks me up or whatever happens. Or he was pissed off at the Flyers.
Which, that's fair. Okay, so who is the Western Conference team between whomever and this is before the Bruins or after the Bruins?
This is before the Bruins.
Okay.
In the same season, though.
In the same season. Okay.
Again, he went from Czech to this team, then to the Bruins.
I think I know it. The Dallas Stars.
You got it.
Fuck yeah. Goodness gracious. Jaromir Jagr, what a legend.
What is this show?
I don't know, but that was really fun and I enjoyed it a lot. I need to do that more often.
I want to go to Phoenix again. I went to Phoenix for the Rumble in 2019.
Okay.
And the Phoenix Coyotes are a giant joke of a hockey team.
They are.
Insofar that they're now playing at State College or whatever the hell.
Yeah, they're playing in like a 300-person arena or something like that.
I want to see that. I'm going to their like social media just to be like, how is it shot? Because like this is a team that has like a Fox Sports affiliate doing
it does.
And they have to make this 200-person arena look massive. How do
That's true.
Do they?
That is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, Impact does it with 50 people all the time.
Yeah. Are they just going to like move the team?
God forbid. Gary Bettman loves the Sunshine Belt more than anything in the world. The desert.
Which is, I think he just has an infatuation with the fact that it's warm and they play hockey there.
Pretty much.
Is that it?
This is such a foreign concept to these people. Because, it's not like snowbirds are a thing.
Jesus, that's funny.
That's why Florida has so many teams, because they were hoping the snowbirds would get season tickets to the Panthers.
Goodness gracious, that's funny. How long can I keep you for, Joel? I know you said something about SmackDown. I don't want to keep you too long if I can't.
It's been an hour. I've already spoiled a bunch of SmackDown for myself, so I should probably watch it, I guess.
Okay, well, before you go, I do this thing on shows now where I close every show with a draft of some sort. So 5 picks each. Since we're on the topic of hockey, we're going to draft hockey logos, the best ones.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, as my guest, I will allow you to go first.
Can I make number 1 the Islanders logo with the old man and the sea?
Yeah, that's a good choice. Here, hold on. Let me turn on some background music. That'll make this even more appropriate. Like we're doing something important.
Okay.
Okay. So you're doing Old Man in the Sea Islanders. I can respect that.
Yeah. The Hartford Whalers.
Hold on.
Can I do?
Well, we'll go back and forth. So I'll give you the first pick, and then I'll do my first pick. Okay. So you're the old man on the Sea Islanders. You can't have the Whalers because I'm taking the Whalers.
Fine.
So I will take the Whalers. Your second pick.
The Buffalo Sabres, but like the Buffalo, like
the red and black one.
Yeah.
I can get on board with the red and black Sabres. I will go with the. Who do I want to go on board with? As I'm jarring my brain with good. I'll take. We're on the robotic new Coyotes logo. That's the old logo at the same time. So the new old Coyotes.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim 2003 logo.
Yeah, no, those are very good.
The we just cast off the shackles of Disney logos.
I love it. Okay, so you've got what? The Islanders, the Sabres, and the Mighty Ducks. I've got the Whalers and the Coyotes. I will take. Oh, are there any? This one's so bad that it's actually just bad, but it is like classic. I'll take like the old like black, red, and yellow Canucks logo.
It's not bad.
I'm not a fan of it. I've never enjoyed those jerseys, but like it's like you see it and you immediately know what it is. That's why I'm taking it.
The coat of arms LA Kings logo.
That's is that the one when it's like purple and yellow?
It's
purple, or is it still
silver and black?
Okay.
This is the one that has like the lion in the center and it's purple, and then the two hockey sticks crossing.
Yes.
Like
okay.
Arms, that thing.
I like that. I like that like a lot.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. You know what? As a Pittsburgher, I will take the Robo Penguin.
That would do it.
Robo Penguin. Those uniforms that were like black had the Robo Penguin and like the gray on the shoulders. Like they were hovering the line of ugly and beautiful. So I'm a big fan of uniforms that can do that pretty well. So we'll go Robo Penguin.
What am I? Am I my fifth?
I think, yeah, this is your last one.
Okay. So it's kind of a logo, but it's not at the same time.
Okay.
It's the Ducks third jersey from '96 with the duck in the goalie uniform crashing out of the ice.
Wait, okay. I know the show called No Notes, but I am looking this up. Ducks 96 logo. Yes! Oh my goodness, that is sick.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that before now.
I owned that jersey.
That's awesome.
My brother took it one night to go to floor hockey, and he lost.
Sick.
So I'm a fan of that. It's a great jersey.
I'm going to take the Rangers, but it's the Statue of Liberty head. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. So I'm going to take that one. I think that was a very even draft.
I think so too.
And that was a really, really nice way to end this. You know, Joel, I know we've been frenemies on Twitter for a very long time, and that's kind of our bit. I'm very happy that we were able to do this. You're a very good confidant. You're a very talented person and a very fun person to talk to. I'm glad that we were finally able to do this.
Thank you, Jared. I look forward to pushing this show that doesn't exist to all of the people that don't pay any attention to me on any forms of social media.
I appreciate you, buddy. Is there anything that you would like to plug before you leave?
I am on all forms of social media somehow at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl, and then everything else is all sprinkled around there.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of No Notes. We'll see you soon.